Hello. Hope you're staying warm today. Chilly day today. About time. Okay, so what you see in front of you are the notes we've taken. These are the 4 steps for adding or subtracting fractions with like denominators. So hopefully you've had a chance to look over these on your notes. If not, I'm so generous that I put them on here for all the posterity so you can see them. Pause it if you'd like to go back. And basically these are the steps we'll follow anytime we add or subtract fractions that have different denominators or unlike denominators. So we'll go into a couple of examples. Move this out of the way. And we'll just follow the steps just as they're listed. Let's do 1/3 plus 2/9. Now step 1 says we skip count to find the least common denominator. I always recommend doing the smallest number first. So since we're working with the denominators, which are the numbers on the bottom, we just kind of set it up right over here like this with a 3 and a 9. And I start skip counting. Now I like to start with the smaller number because every once in a while you'll get a number like this, 3, 6, 9, so I'll skip counting by 3. I can already tell that my 9 is going to be matching the first 9 in that skip counting or multiples of 9. So I can already see that my least common denominator, which is the same as my least common multiple, is 9. And I'm trying to find I'm trying to find the smallest denominator that's the same so that I can change both of these fractions to that denominator. So we set it up like this. And essentially what I'm doing next to it is writing the denominator that we're going to change to, which we've already decided is 9. Now that means that whatever I do to the top, whatever I do to the bottom has to match what I do to the top. So I'm trying to decide now or figure out how I got from 3 to 9. This is all going to be multiplication. So 3 times 3 is 9, I know that. So 1 times 3 is 3. Now I've converted my first fraction. Right? I've renamed it. 9 times 1 is 9. 2 times 1 is 2. So now I have my second fraction. And I also tell students a good idea is just to rewrite the equation so that everything is nice and clear and you don't get confused with all the other numbers. So I have 3/9 plus 2/9. And I can just simply add. My denominators don't add, so the 9 will stay the same. 3 plus 2 is 5. So my answer is 5/9. Now, I always tell the students that we should be reducing our fraction to the simplest form. And there's a way to do that. We'll probably do one next that way. But as a quick check I like to tell them to do is just divide by 2, either the numerator or the denominator, just to see. It'll kind of give you an idea if it can be reduced. Now, sometimes it can be divided by 3. But this is just a quick check. We know that we can't divide 5 evenly by 2. So that already takes it out of the equation, so there's no way we can reduce this at all. It is in its simplest form, 5/9. All right, so let's do another one that we can reduce. Okay, let's do 1/4 plus 3/12. Okay, so we do the same thing. We look at the denominators. And we're going to find the least common multiple. I recommend starting with the smallest number, which is 4. 4, 8, 12. I can already see that I'm going to have a match here. So I know that my least common denominator is 12. Rename my fractions. 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. So there's my first one. And this is going to be 1. This works out pretty good. 3/12. Oh, wow, I can't even see what I'm doing over here. There you go. So I can rewrite it down here. 3/12 plus 3/12. There. Remember, the denominators don't add, so that stays 12. 3 plus 3 is 6. So I have the fraction 6/12. Now, just because I have enough number sense to know that 6 and 12 can both be divided by 2, that tells me this fraction can be reduced. So I'm not going to divide it by 2. I'm going to use step 4, which is using the greatest common factor to divide the biggest number by both of these and get it reduced down to its smaller form. So when I'm working with greatest common factor, I'm working with one fraction that I'm trying to reduce, 6/12. So over here, I do a U-turn for 6, and I do a U-turn for 12. And my factors of 6 are 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. My factors for 12 are 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. So now I'm comparing these two, all these factors together to look for the greatest common factor, the biggest one they have in common. Which, yeah, they have a 1 in common, and they have a 2 in common. They even have a 3 in common. But the biggest one is 6. So that means I should be able to come over to my fraction, divide the top by 6, divide the bottom by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So now I have my reduced fraction. 1/12. Oh, sorry, 1/2. Hello. Okay, pretty easy, right? Let's do a subtraction one just so we can see that in action too. All right. All right, here we go. Let's do 3/12 and we'll subtract 1/6. Okay, so same steps apply. We got to find the least common multiple or least common denominator. So we're going to skip count 6 and 12. And I'm going to start, of course, with the smallest number, 6, 12, 18. And I can already see that my 12s are going to match up here. So my least common denominator is 12. And if the problems are spaced out like this, I have shown students that you can kind of squeeze it in if the room is, if you don't have enough room. You can set it up with both my denominators are 12, and I know that I have to multiply the top and bottom, right? 12 times 1 is 12, so 3 times 1 is 3. Oh, that should be there, sorry. So there's 3/12. And over here, 6 times 2 is 12, so 1 times 2 is 2. So that's my second fraction. 3/12 minus 2/12. Denominators still do not subtract. When we add or subtract, the denominators stay the same, so that's 12. 3 minus 2 is 1. And I know that's the simplest fraction because it's a unit fraction, because it only has a 1 on top. 1/12. Easy, breezy, beautiful. Right? You got it. I'll throw a challenge one in here for those of you who want to try it. It might involve regrouping, which is changing a improper fraction. We just kind of touched on it. We're not going to go into that skill until next week, but hey, some of you kind of caught on that one time we did it, so here's a challenge for those of you who want to do it. Actually, I'll give you 2 problems. One challenge one and one that you could probably do on your own. So here's a challenge one. Okay, there's your challenge problem. Challenge. And here will be your regular one that you can probably solve this one on your own. All right, good luck. Put the answer in the comments below. See you in the morning. Tomorrow we will be doing the review for the test on Friday, so come prepared and have a good night. Bye-bye.